In 2025, women found their jobs vanishing at 3 times the rate of men as artificial intelligence swept through offices. It was not because they lacked skills, but because 71% of clerical and administrative roles, the first targets for automation, were held by women. While 55,000 layoffs hit the United States this year, executive secretaries and data entry clerks, mostly women, faced a 90% or higher risk of replacement. Why are the very roles women dominate being erased first? And what does this reveal about who really benefits from the AI revolution? The consequences go far beyond statistics. They threaten to redefine the future of work and gender equality. The answer begins with a single layoff and a reckoning that has only just begun. Across offices in the United States and Europe, the threat to women's job security comes into sharp focus not through headlines, but through the details of everyday work. In high-income countries, nearly 1 in 10 women's jobs sits in the highest category of AI automation risk. For men, that number is just over 3%. The reason is not a lack of skill or ambition, it is the concentration of women in roles where the tasks themselves are being handed off to algorithms. Clerical and administrative work forms the epicenter of this risk. Data from the International Labor Organization shows that 71.6% of all clerical and administrative employees are women. Within that, the numbers become even more striking. Executive secretaries, responsible for scheduling, correspondence, and meeting notes, are 95.6% women. Their jobs face a 92% probability of being replaced by AI. Medical secretaries, at 92.9% women, see an 88% risk. Bookkeeping clerks, who handle invoices and ledgers, are 85.1% women and sit at the very top of the list with a 98% automation risk. Data entry keyers, tasks once considered the backbone of office operations, are 72.6% women with a 99% chance of being automated. Receptionists, often the first face of a company, are 88.4% women, facing a 96% risk as virtual assistants and AI phone systems take over. It is not just a few isolated roles. The Institute for Women's Policy Research found that 58% of all workers in jobs with a 90% or greater chance of automation are women, even though women make up only 47% of the workforce. These numbers reveal a pattern. The more automatable the job, the more likely it is to be held by a woman. Janine Berg, a senior economist at the ILO, cautions that it is easy to get lost in the AI hype. What we need is clarity and context. The clarity comes from the data. The context comes from understanding how these jobs, once seen as stable stepping stones or lifelong careers, are now at the crossroads of technological change. It is not just about the disappearance of positions, but about the erosion of job quality and the narrowing of options for millions of women. The risk is not abstract. It is mapped, occupation by occupation, task by task. And for women in clerical work, the map points directly to the heart of the AI revolution. By early 2025, the toll of AI-driven layoffs was no longer theoretical. In the United States alone, more than 55,000 jobs vanished in less than a year, with corporate press releases citing efficiency and automation as the driving force. At IBM, hundreds of HR positions disappeared almost overnight, replaced by chatbots programmed to handle routine employee questions. The company called it a necessary step forward. For the women whose jobs evaporated, it felt like the ground had shifted beneath their feet. Salesforce, a global leader in cloud software, announced 4,000 customer support layoffs. Their CEO told investors that AI now handled half the workload once managed by people. For those on the receiving end of these decisions, the language of innovation offered little comfort. The losses were concentrated in roles that had long been seen as stable: administrative assistants, coordinators, and support staff. According to Indeed Hiring Lab, entry-level positions in marketing, human resources, and office administration were among the hardest hit. Maya had been an executive assistant at a mid-sized tech firm in Chicago for 12 years. Her workdays were filled with managing calendars, organizing travel, and keeping the office running smoothly. She was the person colleagues turned to when a problem needed solving or a deadline loomed. In March 2025, she received an email from HR. Her position had been eliminated, effective immediately. The company's new AI scheduling software could now handle the bulk of her responsibilities. The severance package amounted to 3 months' pay. Maya spent the first week in shock, refreshing her inbox for updates that never came. She watched as former co-workers posted updates about their own layoffs, each story echoing her own. The job search felt different this time. Nearly every posting for administrative roles now included a line about AI proficiency required or automation experience preferred. Recruiters told her the market was flooded with applicants from similar backgrounds. The skills she had spent over a decade refining suddenly seemed obsolete. Maya's story is not an outlier. Across the country, women in office roles found themselves facing the same abrupt reality. The Bureau of Labor Statistics projects that by 2033, data entry positions will shrink by 21%, bank teller jobs by 15%, and customer service roles by 5%. For Maya, the hardest part was not just losing a paycheck. It was the sense that her work no longer counted in a world increasingly run by algorithms. The numbers behind the layoffs are staggering, but it is the personal cost, the loss of routine, identity, and security that lingers long after the headlines fade. Beneath the surface of the AI revolution, another imbalance shapes who wins and who loses: the people building the technology itself. Across the globe, only 22% of AI specialists are women. In research, the gap widens further. Just 12% of academic AI researchers are women, and only 16% of faculty in fields related to AI are women. This underrepresentation is not just a numbers problem, it shapes the systems that decide who gets hired, promoted, or even considered for a job. The consequences are visible in the products themselves. A systematic review of AI systems found that 44% exhibit gender bias. These are not rare glitches, they are evidence of a pattern that traces back to who writes the code and curates the data. When most teams are overwhelmingly male, the risk is that assumptions and blind spots become embedded in the algorithms. The 2018 case at Amazon made this clear. The company's experimental AI recruiting tool began screening out women's resumes, downgrading candidates who had attended women's colleges or who used the word women's in their activities. The problem was not the technology, it was the data. Years of hiring patterns, dominated by men, had taught the system to prefer male candidates. Amazon scrapped the tool, but the lesson lingers. When women are sidelined from designing AI, bias can slip in undetected and at scale. Today, major tech firms have stopped publishing diversity reports, making it harder to track progress or setbacks. Opacity only deepens the divide. As AI systems become the unseen gatekeepers of opportunity, the lack of women at the design table means that the technology is more likely to reinforce rather than break old patterns of exclusion. The roots of job loss for women are not just in the roles most exposed to automation, but in the very architecture of the systems driving the change. On the other side of the AI divide, a different pattern takes shape. In technical fields like engineering and software development, does not threaten to erase jobs. It offers a powerful set of tools that make existing roles more valuable. Electrical engineering, for example, is 90 to 91% male. Here, AI is used to analyze complex circuit data, speed up design iterations, and flag system faults before they cause problems. Mechanical engineering tells a similar story, with men holding over 90% of positions. These jobs rely on non-routine problem-solving and creative judgment, skills that current AI cannot replicate. Instead of replacement, workers see their productivity climb as AI handles tedious calculations and documentation. Software engineering stands out as a case study in augmentation. Around 78% of software engineers are men. Tools like GitHub Copilot now write code suggestions in real time, letting developers build applications faster and with fewer errors. Rather than making programmers obsolete, these systems have become collaborative partners, automating repetitive syntax and freeing up time for higher-level work. Data scientists, 80 to 85% male, use AI to process massive data sets, but the interpretation and strategy remain human. For Ava, a junior automation engineer at a mid-sized manufacturing firm, the arrival of machine learning platforms changed her day-to-day work. Instead of spending hours on manual testing, she now oversees AI-driven simulations and focuses on optimizing workflows. Her responsibilities have grown, not shrunk. Ava describes the shift as moving from button pushing to decision making. In her team, AI is seen as an asset, a way to tackle bigger projects and solve problems that once seemed out of reach. The contrast is clear. While women in clerical roles face the threat of replacement, men in technical fields are shielded by the nature of their work. AI becomes a ladder, not a trapdoor, for those whose jobs demand creativity, judgment, and adaptability. Inside the workplace, technology is only part of the equation. Even as AI tools become more common, not everyone feels equally free to use them. Culture and subtle judgments often stand in the way. In many offices, when a man uses AI to streamline his work, he is praised for being forward-thinking. When a woman does the same, her actions are more likely to be questioned. Is she cutting corners? Is she relying too much on technology? These unspoken doubts can shape who feels comfortable adopting new tools and who hesitates. A recent survey by Harvard Business School found a clear divide. Women were 25% less likely than men to regularly use AI tools in their daily work. The gap is especially wide among young professionals. Among those aged 18 to 24, 71% of men reported using generative AI every week. For women in the same age group, the figure was just 59%. The numbers suggest that women are not held back by a lack of ability or access, but by the risk of being seen as less competent or even dishonest for embracing automation. These perceptions have real consequences. In performance reviews, men's use of AI is often described as innovative or efficient. For women, similar behavior can be labeled as cheating or not following the rules. The difference is not just in language, but in the opportunities that follow. Women who hesitate to use AI tools may fall behind, while those who do may face subtle penalties. In tech hubs like San Francisco, where workplace culture encourages experimentation, the adoption gap disappears. But in most places, the double standard remains, a barrier as real as any algorithm. The path forward depends not just on technology itself, but on changing the culture that surrounds it. In the early days of the computer revolution, women in clerical jobs faced a similar wave of uncertainty. The arrival of word processors and automated spreadsheets in the 1980s threatened to erase roles that had been the backbone of office life for decades. Yet a study from the National Bureau of Economic Research found that, instead of being sidelined, women adapted faster than expected. Many took the opportunity to retrain, moving into higher skill and better paying positions. College completion rates for women rose sharply in regions most affected by automation, and those with strong social and organizational skills found new roles that valued human judgment over routine tasks. The lesson from that era is clear. When technology closed one door, it opened others for those able to pivot. The challenges of today echo the past, but so do the possibilities. History shows that with access to education and support, women can not only weather technological change, but use it as a springboard to something better. Inside a former call center in Manchester, Emma sits at a computer, reviewing cloud security logs for Rolls-Royce. Just a year ago, she was a receptionist, her days filled with answering phones and scheduling appointments. Those tasks are now handled by automated systems. When her job disappeared, Emma enrolled in a 6-month Code First Girls program, learning Python, cloud computing, and cybersecurity. She earned her AWS certification and landed a junior analyst role, doubling her salary from £28,000 to £62,000. Emma is one of more than 200,000 women trained by Code First Girls, a pipeline that helped Rolls-Royce exceed its hiring targets by 150%. Across the Atlantic, Amazon's Career Choice program has supported over 150,000 employees in upskilling, with Gallup reporting an average income boost of 8.6%. AT&T retrained 100,000 workers for tech-focused roles, moving more than half into new positions. In Germany, Siemens reports near-perfect success rates with its digital factory training, where 40% of participants are women. These stories offer proof that the right support can turn risk into opportunity, one career at a time. Darren Asamoglu, Nobel-winning economist at MIT, warns that we are using AI too much for automation and not enough for providing expertise to workers. The choices made now by companies, governments, and developers will decide whether technology deepens inequality or helps close it. The United Nations projects that sectors where women predominate could see 171 million new jobs created by 2030 if the right policies are in place. The International Labor Organization calls for stronger digital skills access, especially for women, and for labor policy to keep pace with rapid change. The European Union's Digital Decade program aims to double the number of ICT professionals, with gender balance as a core goal. Latvia offers proof that progress is possible, with women now making up nearly half of its scientific workforce. The outcome depends on whether leaders treat AI as a tool for replacement or as a partner for human growth. The crossroads is here, and the future will be shaped by the decisions made today. Right now, the algorithms shaping our future are built in rooms where women hold just 1 in 5 seats. As AI redraws job maps, the cost of exclusion becomes impossible to ignore. The choices made today by companies, policymakers, and individuals will decide whether technology deepens old divides or writes a new chapter. The future of work still has a pen in our hands. Share your thoughts below.